Good, y'all. I'm Jerry, about to check out 10 best final years in WWE history. This video is by Cultaholic Wrestling. So I guess this is the final years of Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, JBL, CM Punk, everybody who had like kind of a last great little run right before they left WWE, either retire or went to another company. So we about to hop into this video and see the best final years in WWE history. Let's go.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. As Frank Sinatra so poetically put it, everything comes to an end one day, and that includes the in-ring careers of WWE wrestlers.
I remember Ric Flair last run.
Some performers quietly fade away, others finish their run in the big dog.
Shawn Michaels had a pretty good run right before he retired.
All winning championships and competing in main events
Damn, Brian.
months before time was called on their days in a WWE ring. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 best final years in WWE history.
Let me see.
Join us. But first, if you needed the best protection possible, who would you turn to? Brock Lesnar? Omos? Maybe get Farouk and Bradshaw.
I feel like if Undertaker had never came back to wrestle after WrestleMania 28 or 29, he would have been part of this list.
Truly believe that NordVPN is the best service of its kind.
After WrestleMania.
So here's how I use Nord. Obviously,
after WrestleMania 29.
But with NordVPN, I can set
before the streak ended at 30,
virtually, and
he should have never came back
from those regions. So this means if I fancied it, I could set myself to be somewhere else in the world virtually and sign up for a certain.
We're gonna skip through this, y'all. We're doing like an ad.
Number 10, Andre the Giant. Due to his deteriorating health, the once mighty Andre the Giant was used a lot less frequently during his final years in WWE. However, that does not mean that he didn't have his moments. His swan song began with a marquee match at WrestleMania 5 against Jake Roberts, which the latter won via the method of Snake. Over the summer of 1989, he was instrumental in getting the Ultimate Warrior over as a new main eventer. Andre was booked to lose several squash matches against Warrior at house shows, which made the face-painted musclehead look like a total monster. Towards the end of the year, Andre began teaming with Haku to form the Colossal Connection. They won the World Tag Team Championships in December and would hold them all the way until WrestleMania 6, when they lost to Demolition. This led to the big man's final farewell, when he turned face for the first time in years after beating the weasel juice out of his former manager, Bobby Heenan. He then got on his little motorized cart and rode off into the sunset. Number 9, Rick Steiner. Okay, this one might be a little bit cheeky, seeing as how the Steiner brothers' original WWE run only lasted for about 2 years in total, but there is no denying how much they achieved in that time. After falling out with WCW, Scott and Rick Steiner jumped ship to the World Wrestling Federation in 1992. They stayed there until mid-1994, leaving after Vince McMahon apparently failed to follow through on promises he had made them. Doesn't sound like Vince at all. If we take their final year to mean between the summer of 1993 and summer of 1994, then the Steiners got a lot done. They appeared at the first ever King of the Ring pay-per-view, were part of the main event match at Survivor Series, and also won 2 sets of World Tag Team titles. Did one of those reigns end because Scott hit somebody with a hockey stick? Well, yes, but sure. Because Scotty came back to WWE in 2002, only this time with more chainmail and fewer full sentences, only Rick qualifies for our list, even if he has proven himself to be a bit of a prick in recent times. Number 8, Christian.
Captain Charisma.
Around in the company for many years after and made that one appearance.
I hate how they had Christian retire. They made him retire.
For WWE ended in March of 2014. He would suffer a concussion during a fatal four-way match on Raw that essentially ended his WWE career. Up to that point, though, Captain Charisma had been on quite the run. The previous year, Christian had been embroiled in a feud with The Shield, which included handing the stable one of their first losses. He competed in Money in the Bank and even got a World Heavyweight Championship match at SummerSlam. Whilst that sounds great on paper, it did mean that he had to share the ring with Alberto Del Rio. After a brief hiatus, Mr. Cage took part in the Elimination Chamber match ahead of WrestleMania 30 before the aforementioned concussion put a stop to his momentum. Who was it that did that to him? Alberto Del Rio.
Damn.
What are the chances? Had it not been for that bump to the noggin, Christian's final in-ring WWE year could have ended very differently. Oh well, he's done alright for himself since. Number 7, Ric Flair. He may have retired about 400.
I hate how he came back to TNA to retire.
But as it stands, Ric Flair's last match for the Fed was his exceptional battle with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania
he was falling short in
no,
financial
KFC-sponsored
stuff.
match doesn't count. Shut up. Flair's last run began under very strange circumstances as he was actually teaming with Carlito at WrestleMania 23. After a brief feud between the two, Nate unsuccessfully challenged MVP for the United States Championship before taking a few months off to return in November 2007. And this is where his story gets really interesting, as Vince McMahon announced that the next singles match Flair lost would be his last.
He won all them
4 months of the dirtiest player in the game, hanging on to his livelihood by any means necessary.
I remember that.
He beat Randy Orton thanks to a distraction from Chris Jericho, bested Triple H via DQ, and survived a run-in with Umaga by getting the Samoan Bulldozer counted out. This amazing stretch was capped off by that all-time great HBK match, which stands up as one of the most emotional in Mania history. Number 6, JBL. At WrestleMania 25,
that little run
lost his match and the Intercontinental Championship to Rey Mysterio in just 21 seconds. The Texan then promptly quit the company in front of God and everyone. But how will he make ends meet? Oh yeah, the stock market millions. You might be wondering why a final year that ended this way has been included on this list. Well,
he was a heel.
This Nightmare Night, Bradshaw was in fantastic form. At Mania 24, he had a great opening bout with Finlay, which included chucking a trash can directly into Hornswoggle's entire body. He fought for the WWE Championship at Backlash, beat John Cena at the Great American Bash, challenged CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam, and then had a brief but memorable rivalry with Shawn Michaels.
I was just about to mention
2009. This was the feud in which the showstopper lost all of his family's money in the 2008 financial
He had to work
crash.
under JBL.
WWE has ever been. Even on his goodbye tour, JBL was still challenging for top titles while working with some of the best talent around. Number 5, Adam Cole. After losing his NXT Championship to Keith Lee, Adam Cole began his final 12 months in WWE by feuding with Pat McAfee. Although he wasn't a full-time wrestler or anything, and he chose to
Pat McAfee can go. He can go in the ring.
McAfee had a very good first showing, and Cole proved that he could carry literally anyone to a decent match. All this brouhaha eventually turned Cole and the entire Undisputed Era babyface, which resulted in a War Games match between them and McAfee's faction, the Kings of NXT. 5 points if you can remember who was in that. No cheating. Cole finished up with NXT as a heel, turning on his faction and entering a rivalry with longtime friend Kyle O'Reilly. The two former buddies waged war against each other for months in 2021 before O'Reilly beat Cole in a 2 out of 3 falls match at NXT TakeOver 36. He was so embarrassed that he left WWE and never came back. Yep, that's why he left. Not because he was told to shave his head, change his name and become a manager. Number 4, Daniel Bryan. The man currently known as Bryan Danielson.
Daniel Bryan had a great run right before he left.
In 2016. However, thanks to modern science and
before he
Bryan
left,
being a wonderful freak of nature, he was able to come back and round things off in 2021 instead. After
that steel cage match he had against Roman
at WrestleMania 36,
it was so
Bryan
good.
would go on to compete in that weird corporate Money in the Bank match where he and AJ Styles ended up having a fight in Vince McMahon's office. He then feuded with AJ over the vacant Intercontinental Championship before returning at the end of the year to set the scene for a showdown with Roman Reigns. Bryan lost to the Tribal Chief at both Elimination Chamber and Fastlane, but found his way into the main event of WrestleMania 37 where he and Edge both challenged for the Universal title. How did that go? Best you don't ask. D-Bry's final match in WWE to date was one of his best ever. Another singles match with Reigns on SmackDown that cost the American Dragon his WWE career.
Yeah. I thought it was a steel cage match.
Final WWE year? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay, you get the picture. Number 3, Shawn Michaels. HBK's final proper in-ring year in WWE, I would rather eat a bowl of my own toenails than acknowledge what happened in Saudi Arabia, was bookended by 2 of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history. The first was at Mania 25, aka that match with The Undertaker.
He and Triple H won the tag titles, unified tag titles that year.
Michaels actually disappeared from WWE after that match, which led to a bunch of sketches where he was working in a cafeteria. Thanks to Triple H, the showstopper returned to the ring to face Legacy at SummerSlam. But not before he superkicked a little girl. Reformed my arse. This led to Shawn and Hunter winning the tag titles together in December 2009. The next month, Michaels would publicly make amends with Bret Hart for the first time since the Montreal Screwjob. Then came the road to WrestleMania and Michaels' obsession with The Undertaker. He gave an all-time performance at the Royal Rumble, then cost the Dead Man his title at Elimination Chamber before losing a career versus street match at Mania 26. Sure, he may have assaulted a child, but even that doesn't stop HBK's final WWE year from being epic. Number 2, CM Punk. It turns out the great way to have an amazing final year in WWE is to leave on your own terms without telling anyone. Though he wasn't the tippity-top guy he wanted to be, CM Punk was still a major player in the company before his infamous walkout in January of 2014. He had been WWE Champion the previous year before losing it to The Rock at Royal Rumble 2013. He would go on to feud with The Undertaker, culminating at WrestleMania 29 in what was probably the last great match Taker had at the Show of Shows.
True.
Punk would feud
Taker should have retired after that match
over the summer, leading to the excellent Beast vs. Best match against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Sure, this also led to matches against Curtis Axel and Ryback, but swings and roundabouts, eh? The straight-edge superstar would work with the Wyatt family and later the Shield before spending almost 50 minutes in the 2014 Rumble. After that, well, you know what happens. Whilst HBK's farewell tour might have had higher highs, Punk was around way more consistently and had just as many high-profile matches before he said goodbye to Vince McMahon and company. Number 1, Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie G.
Although it might be
Latino
bittersweet to think about it now, it's important to remember just how bloody good Eddie Guerrero was at the time of his tragic
death. And I remember watching his last match.
2005.
That match right there.
1 year earlier, he was fighting in a fatal four-way match for JBL's WWE title.
Yeah.
Then he began his storyline with Rey Mysterio, which started when the duo won the tag titles at No Way Out.
At No Mercy.
Mysterio beat Guerrero at WrestleMania 21, Latino Heat became more and more frustrated over his inability to get a win over his masked pal. He soon turned heel, revealed that Rey's son Dominic was actually his own, and had one of the wildest ladder matches in WWE history at SummerSlam 2005. Eddie's final pay-per-view match was at No Mercy, where he challenged Batista for the World Heavyweight title. Rumour has it that he was supposed to beat the Animal for the gold down the road, but that obviously never happened. Guerrero was very much in his prime when he passed away, which makes the whole dire situation even worse. He will always be remembered as one of the greats though, and was putting out some amazing work right until his Latino heat burned out.
Yeah. Alright y'all, another great video, man. Let me know down below in the comments of what y'all thought of my reaction to this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.